My name is George Gasakula, and the program is the Couldron on Times TV or 2TV if you want. This is where editors meet. It's a program that puts together a group of editors, panelists, to discuss top stories that have happened probably during that week. We also take time to discuss international stories, but again, we don't forget to also go to the newsroom segment, which essentially we look at trends, some of the main issues that are happening in our profession. Please don't go away. Let me welcome today's guest in the Couldron. First of all, I have Brian Ligomeka. Brian is not a new face in this program. He's Executive Director of Center for Solution Journalism and former Managing Editor for Times Group. Next to Brian is Mibawa Chavula. Mibawa also is not a new face on this program. He's quite a regular, and he currently is a news editor at Blantyre Synod Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
For intents and purposes, this is the last Couldron for 2020, a year which was full of action, ranging from politics, human rights, development, health, and the list is endless. What a year it was. I will start with you, Mibawa. Nullification of presidential elections, fresh elections, a new government, COVID, a full package, isn't it?
It has been a very momentous year.
Yes.
I think I can only say that ever since I was born in this country, I don't think I've ever seen a year as turbulent as this one.
Yes.
Especially with the COVID, this is the first time I'm also witnessing a pandemic.
Yes.
We are all trying to live, and we thank God that we're actually here today.
Yes.
Considering the fact that we were told maybe 50,000 of us would be dead.
Yes, yes. Brian, you are just general impression of the year. Full of action if it was a movie.
Especially on the political front.
Yes.
Yeah, there was more action than we expected.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the year when the judiciary shaped our laws and the way we will be handling elections.
Yes.
From this year going forward.
Yes.
We saw the change of system using the simple majority.
Yes.
To going to 50+1.
Yes.
I think that was a landmark development.
Yes.
A landmark change which has even affected our constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for us, we have adopted that, and that's the system that we will be using. No single party will now be winning the elections if they base their campaign on tribalism or ethnicism. Yeah.
You jumped actually to my next question, where we're going to zero in on the elections court case. Mibawa Brian has started. He's tried to explain the effects of what happened. How far-reaching are the consequences of that ruling on the political scene, apart from what Brian has your comment on that, especially on the consequences?
It doesn't just affect Malawi. Actually, we are being held up as an example across the whole world. For the first time, actually, we saw Malawi shine internationally, with people quoting us. I'm sure some even would have come to observe how our judges work if it hadn't been for COVID. So we've gone down into the textbooks as a country which has a very independent judiciary, very firm, very much in control. So I think that is one of the best highlights of this year, and one of the good things that has actually happened to this country this year.
Brian talked about change even in the way that we elect our presidents. No longer past the post. Somebody cannot just lie on their tribe or their village to gain the presidency. Is that a good thing for Malawi?
It is also one of the best things that happened, because you cannot have somebody ruling with 25%, 30%, and you have 10 million people disgruntled, but you're ruling very comfortably because your tribesmen, your kinsmen have decided that you should be the one ruling.
So probably, Brian, what this means is that we'll now have a credible president. I'm not saying in the past it wasn't credible. That may not be getting scolded, but at least the majority will be the majority.
Yeah, the majority will be the majority.
The majority, yes.
The president will be elected by the majority of the voters. Unlike in the past, the president will be elected with 30%. You have 70% who have voted against him, and yet the politician is making it into power just because he has scooped the 30% of the votes. I think we have corrected that. Yeah.
Now, the the judiciary is gaining praise from everyone. The Chatham House. Then I think 2 weeks ago, you had the economist also speaking warmly about Malawi and our achievements. In fact, we are being called the citizens, not the subjects. Economists was very generous with their wording to say this happened in an area in Southern Africa that probably has retrogressed in terms of democratic achievements. As a Malawian, you feel good about it?
I feel good because most of the time the headline says the impoverished sub-Saharan African country.
The poorest in the world.
So now it has changed. The country with the independent judiciary, I think it's
But we're still poor.
We are, but it's no longer the focus.
Brad, no longer being called the poorest.
Someone said you can climb up to Sapitwa, but sometimes it's difficult to stay there for a week. What I mean is that we have made that achievement.
Yes.
And it's nice that we should praise our judiciary for what they did. But it will be unfortunate that instead of progressing, you will find that sometimes you are regressing. What do I mean? An election case took almost 9 months.
Yeah.
It was concluded. Elections were held.
Yes.
And we have new leadership. It would be proper that the judiciary should make sure that the standards that those judges set, others should emulate them. This business of having one case lasting for 5 years, 10 years, I mean...
So now you're looking at the judiciary itself.
Learning from what others have done, yes. Yes.
Probably because it recognized that it's an important case that everyone is waiting for. Probably the future of the country is hinging. But the other cases that probably are obscure about Mibawa, against someone in some little case, they want justice, isn't it?
Yes, they want justice.
It was just an example. You have no case in court. It was just an example. They want justice.
Even corruption cases.
Yes.
People should give them time frame to say, this one, or at least we are planning that in 6 months' time, we will dispose it. But when you have those cases running for 10 years and some witnesses are dying, I mean, it doesn't make sense. So our judiciary has set standards. Let other judges maintain.
In Kenya, the Chief Justice there is retiring, and I was reading an article where it was an analysis about his tenure. And the one thing that came out of that article is that he was being judged by the number of cases that have been dealt with. Is that how we should be when our Chief Justices are retiring, sorry? Is that how we should be judging them? Because what Brian has presented is a very big problem. Justice is like a hospital where you want to go and get cured.
To a certain extent, yes. But then are those judgments sound? He might have maybe a lot of cases here judged, but were they good enough? And on the issue of Malawi, I will say that I should not give all the credit to the judges. We'll give credit to the Malawians who are on the street 24/7.
Yes, exactly.
Because if they hadn't piled on the pressure, believe me, that case could have, even now it could not have been concluded. The DPP would still have been in power.
You think the judges were also listening to the demonstration?
Yeah, they were pressured.
Like to make sure that they dispose of the case. Yes.
We've had cases before. I think it was Chakwamba. It was judged after another president had been in power 2 years. So it has happened before, but this time there was a lot of pressure.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want Malawians as well to also, get part of the credit.
Yes, they should.
It makes sense.
Those who were on the street.
It makes sense.
Time.
Do we think the reforms, Brian, that the Saulos Chilima is championing should also affect the judiciary?
Yeah, we need the reforms everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. We need the reforms everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the key negative of the judiciary is the delay in doing cases. I think that has been the concern, and probably they are listening. But let's proceed. The byproduct of all this process, demonstrations, court case, indeed an election, is that we have a new government in Malawi. Led by Dr. Lazarus Chakwera with his vice, Saulos Chilima. That was ushered in after June 23, court-ordered June 23 fresh presidential election. We have a new government. Has the breath of fresh air, has it lasted longer, or now we're starting probably to think twice?
It's not exactly a question of thinking twice, but let's just say For myself personally, I'll lower my expectations next time. If I go to vote, I will not have those high expectations. But then we were given those because of the very beautiful campaign promises that were made. So sadly, we are in Canaan, as they said, but it's not feeling as sweet as it should be. Feels like we're still...
Are we thinking of going back to Egypt?
Not necessarily, but...
Where we had pots of meat and...
we
did we have pots of meat in Wiggleboot?
Sometimes you look at things and say, maybe it was better then.
Okay.
Sadly, we're saying that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brad, I want your thoughts on that. We have a new government. Are we feeling good?
The truth is the government has started very well.
Okay.
And on a good note.
Okay.
But the challenge is that Malawians have huge expectations.
Okay.
From this government. The other...
Should they not have huge expectations?
No, they should have.
We should have.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other problem is that I wish the partners in the alliance would now come up with key priority areas that they will work on. Because there are so many partners in the Tonse Alliance, sometimes we tend to forget that some promises were being by individual parties.
But they consolidated them and gave them.
Where is the consolidated sheet so that we can start
manifesto?
Yes, because People's Party were making its own promises. At one point, UTM was also making its own promises.
Yes, exactly.
MCP was making its own promises.
Exactly.
Will they do all these promises? It was important that they consolidate and tell Malawians.
Yeah, and there were others which were highlighted, like the 1 million jobs, the fertilizer, everything was key.
Thank you very much. UTM started preaching about the 1 million jobs when it was launched. That once they go into government, they will create 1 million jobs. Now they are in this alliance. Is this the vision of the alliance? Or is it the vision of UTM? So things should be clarified. Because we are looking at the promises which MCP made, we are looking at the promises which UTM made, but I haven't seen the consolidated package
of
promises.
But
they
have
do
a
everything.
different view.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, please, let me hear it.
When Dr. Chakwera and Dr. Chilima were campaigning together, they were still highlighting those things which the UTM...
Fertilizer, jobs...
Despite not having a document on paper which Brian wants to see, but those things were highlighted.
But look, they have worked on fertilizers.
Yes.
The issue of 1 million jobs, in my view, with the current coronavirus pandemic, everywhere in the world,
What difficult?
it's difficult.
Jobs are
to
being
create-
shared. Jobs are being, companies are closing
difficult.
up.
That's true.
So indeed a promise was made, but let us look at the current situation.
The reality, yes, the reality.
But that's why I've said for the 6 months they
I'll
have been
concede on that one.
for the 6 months that they have been in office, they have done. They have started making progress. Yeah. Some things may take medium term. Some other things may take long term.
We'll go to a break. But before we do that, there's a positive that probably people have overlooked, and I want us to discuss it. The new government is elected on June 23. There was the old government, old president. One thing, probably it's also something that is being praised, is part of the praise that we're getting as a nation, is that the transition, though not methodical like the American one, where of course, we know Trump is being difficult to discuss that in the next segment. But normally the American transition is so seamless. They would ride together in the same beast, as that guy is called, that the president used, go to the Capitol for swearing in, and everything is done properly. Here, it wasn't like that, but it was peaceful. Should we not feel good as Malawians?
Yeah, I think all of us were just tired of the countless demonstrations and stuff.
Yes.
How long would people go on fighting? So the transition was made, life had to go on, we had to move forward.
Should Peter Mutharika not get some credit for simply moving to Mangochi quietly without going to court or causing trouble? Brian?
The truth is,
Yes.
he's an old statesman.
Okay.
I know when you are in leadership, everything which is bad, every atrocity which is committed, every crime which is committed, sometimes they are committed in your name.
Exactly.
But Peter Mutharika as a person, he is a statesman. That's why when he lost, He packed his things and
he went to
And he
Mangochi.
looks very relaxed
And
now.
he looks
actually.
very relaxed.
Some people are saying he's looking great.
Yes,
He's
it's
looking
true.
relaxed and
I saw a photo today.
added
Very nice.
I saw it too.
Yeah.
He's in a shed, sleeveless, sleeveless and shed, shed.
Yeah, he looks
He's
very
looking
happy.
great and relaxed. So probably the presidency was not for him.
The problem is when you are in power, some of the sheep that you are surrounded with become hyena when you are in power. You become surprised that the same people who look as if they are people with integrity, changing colors like chameleons. So he was in that situation.
Exactly.
Surrounded by thieves who was stealing and plundering.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
And the name was his. All
Yeah,
that.
and
Of course, certain things concerned him personally.
Yeah.
Like the police ration deal, but most of the things were done in his name. Anyway, you are watching the Couldron on Times TV. My name is George Kasagula. I'm joined by Brian as well as Mibawa. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue discussing or wrapping up the year, and we are saying the year was full of action if it were a movie. We'll talk about the famous Rabo. When President Lazarus Chakwera was being inaugurated as the Commander-in-Chief of the Malawi Army, he introduced a word in our national discourse. He said, we have to clean the Rabo. Has the Rabo been cleaned? Don't go away. Welcome back. This is the Couldron on Times TV. When President Lazarus Chakwera was being inaugurated as the Commander-in-Chief of Malawi Defense Force, taking the sword of command, in his rousing speech, he introduced a word or a phrase into our national discourse. He said, we are going to clean the rubble. He compared Malawi as a building that has fallen, a rubble as it were. We have to clean the rubble and start building again to have a new edifice. Brian, has enough been done to clean the rubble? I've just described what a rubble is, so you don't need to repeat
Okay,
it.
the process of cleaning the mess which was there is underway.
Okay.
But I know some people are impatient.
Yes.
They wanted some heads, for instance, to
roll. Yes.
Some systems to change.
Yes, immediately.
But we should always bear in mind that there is needed to follow the due diligence and the due process of law.
Yes.
The problem is if you just go around and fire people who are in, say, state companies or parastatals, then you need to pay them millions or billions for dismissing them illegally or without following procedures.
Exactly.
So sometimes it's important that you actually balance the need to bring in new people and the need to follow the due process of the law, so that when you remove those people, you will not end up paying millions from taxpayers, which would have benefited other social services.
Isn't that the risk in Bao that you are keeping the snake or snakes?
You really have to be very careful. And the word rabo, I think so many people were bitter with it, especially when translated.
Yes.
The president talked about that again after the Manebu fiasco.
Yes.
And he said, to just say Nyansis. And then somebody was saying, are you calling other people Nyansis? Something like that. But honestly, the fact that somebody belonged to another party, the people in power now, they will be in opposition at some point. Can we call them rabo just because they were with the ruling party now? So they really have to be very careful how they go about this. And the others who are working in office, they were associated with the DPP, but they're very diligent people. They know their job.
Would they push when government changes, the agenda changes?
Of course it
Means
does.
Malawians want a new agenda.
But people cannot
Would they be trusted to push the new agenda?
Why should you not trust them? They're all Malawians. We're all working for the good of Malawi at the end of the day.
What if they're actively sabotaging?
Of course, if you see such people, they will always be there. Those ones have to be removed, but you don't just go blanketly and say, Mr. Kasakula, you belong to this, so you just have to pack. It shouldn't work like that.
Mr. Brad?
Cut off the heads of all the snakes that are there.
Yes.
Hey, chop the heads of the snakes.
So you're saying remove them, isn't it?
Yes.
If you're chopping, Bao is trying to play devil's advocate to say, but they are also Malawians.
The point is, are these people professionals? How did they get their positions? if they are professionals who followed all the processes, then it's difficult to remove
them. Yeah, exactly.
But if these are pure, what we call cadets,
yes,
with no qualifications,
yes,
no requisite experience,
yes,
and they were just put there to save their political masters,
yes,
I mean, do the chopping.
Yes. Bo, do the chopping. It's clear trying to differentiate between those that are professionals, Malawian professionals, experienced, and they are not political. Of course, we are all political because we all vote, but when you are a cadet, you have no qualification. Should you still be in your position?
There were so many others who were quite.
You went there wrongly.
Well, then in that case, they just have to be removed. But there are others who became maybe.
I like it. They just have to be. Yeah. Let's talk about reforms. Part of cleaning up of the rubble, which you clearly don't like, because you are saying somewhere saying Nyasi. I get you. But part of the clearing of the rubble, where was the issue of reforms? Are we really getting reforms? It was just a political gimmick, a PR kind of thing.
I think there was fear at the beginning when the vice president was really vibrant in going to places and actually telling people off. But now we're seeing the blackouts again. We like life is going back to the old ways where we live with the blackouts, we live with the water shortages, and life goes on.
So are we getting cheated, Brian? Are we getting the reforms, or we're getting cheated in the broad daylight?
We are not getting cheated, but there was too much rubble.
Okay.
And you cannot clear that rubble within just a short period of time.
5 months, 5 months, 6 months, 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah. You also need some time to clear the rubble. What we need in the reforms is we need more champions. Yeah, the vice president cannot be all over the place. We need some other champions who will support the reforms that are there.
One other story, Mibawa, that also took center stage, especially towards the end of the year, was Shepherd Bushiri. Very, very prominent in South Africa, established his church there, gotten quite wealthy too, flying private planes. In fact, didn't just have one. He was the number was 4, Brad. Was it 4 or 3? I'm not sure. But certainly he didn't just have one private plane. And then from nowhere, cases, whatever, he's back home. The question is, should we devote him or not? How big was that story to us? We talked about it.
Unfortunately, the issue of the prophet, it brings a lot of emotions. I don't know why, but people get very emotional on it. They tend to overlook the legal side of the whole issue.
Yes.
And they take it as a kind of a personal persecution. So for me, I would divorce myself from all of that and say, if the due process of law is followed, and it is found that indeed he has to go, then the government will have no choice but to let him go.
He's our own.
What about the legality
and he says his life is under threat.
Yeah, but then I'm sure all that will be established and maybe clear.
What if we send him there, then he gets killed? A bullet into his head.
Even here, I mean, at some point, something has to kill a man. Even here, seriously.
We're all going to die one day.
Yes.
Oh. Brad, what is your take on this whole issue? Summarize your take.
It's a difficult issue.
Okay.
And we comment on it sometimes using our emotions.
Yes, as Mibawa said.
Than our brains. He is loved by so many people. He's also loathed by so many people. But one of the things is that, as my colleague has said, let the courts do their work. When we are commenting about this case, let us remember that he's a fellow Malawian. He's a Malawian, he's our friend. If indeed his life was in danger, he needed protection, although in my view, he did not follow the right route. To me, I think it would have been better if he had gone and sought maybe gone to Malawi embassy in Pretoria.
And then sought asylum there.
They
don't go to touch him.
Yeah. But let us remember, he's our fellow Malawian. He has collided with the law somewhere, and let the courts do their work.
One thing it happened more or less during the same, not exactly the same day, but during the same time that the president was in South Africa on a state visit, and there were even suspicions there that the president would smuggle Bushiri on his presidential plane. Were a bit slighted off by South Africans. to imagine,
were.
to suspect such a thing from our president?
Unfortunately, that taint will always be there, because when you look at some of the comments still on Facebook and YouTube,
We're not respected.
you find that people still believe that the president actually did smuggle the prophet into this country. So, and unfortunately, we don't know up to now how he managed to come back home. So that speculation will always be there. And the South Africans, indeed, I don't believe they could have treated Trump the same way that they treated our president by detaining him.
They wouldn't have checked the Air Force One with dogs.
How do they start? Where do they even start from? That was a very big slap in the face for Malawi, and I hope that it never happens.
Did we react well to it? Clearly, it was a slap in the face, across our face. But did we react well to it? Do we tell South Africans that what you're doing is a lack of respect?
The truth is, our colleagues in Pretoria were wrong for treating the president the way they did. But the protocol officers at Ministry of Foreign Affairs
yes.
were also wrong. Both sides were wrong. I listened attentively and carefully to what the president said when he returned. He said, I decided to wait so that I could come with all Malawians who went there. What happened was their plane landed at a military
Yes, the famous, yes.
Yeah. So when they were landing there, there was the number of people that I think are around 17 or 20
That landed there with the president.
with the president.
Yes.
Which means in terms of protocol,
Departure should
it
be
was
the
supposed
same,
the number of people.
the same people.
But for some reasons, our protocol officers ended up bringing about 60 people at the military base.
And they filled up the plane.
And everybody at the military, now the people there were surprised to say, he came with 17 and he's trying to live with 60 people. What's going on? That's why I say the treatment of our president was not good. But we also, our protocol officers
Behaved
badly. I mean, the team that was supposed to travel with the president when going was supposed to return with the same team. The advanced team were supposed to board the commercial flights that were there at OR Tambo. But both sides, actually, the president was not even in the plane when the dogs were sniffing around. The president was at his guest house.
Waiting for the right time to come and board the plane.
Yes, saying, no, I want to go with all the 60-something people who were there. And the question is, did we need 60-something people to go to Pretoria for a day?
What were they doing?
What were they doing? So, both officials at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our colleagues in Pretoria, both of them were in the wrong.
But you are taking. Brian is saying both we too, our protocol officers didn't do a proper job.
That exactly brings me back to the point I was saying. You were saying there are some cadets who are there are some who really have the experience, like in foreign affairs.
Yes,
those people could have guided the people
say,
who went
let's not
crowded the airbase and said this is not how we do things. I'm sure they are there at Capitol Hill with plenty of experience, but maybe they just said let it go, or they will not be listened to because they are seen to be cadets.
When everything said and done, Mibawa, what is your verdict of the year 2020 and what it represented? That's the final question for the segment.
I'll still say it's been a year of growth, personally and as a country, because we've managed to surmount the lockdowns, the semi-lockdowns we've had. We are still living, we're still breathing here. Sadly, we've left some behind, but all in all, I think we're trying.
Brian, the year of COVID, the year of politics, what's your final verdict?
It was the year of citizens' power.
Okay.
People took it to the streets, showed their anger, demonstrated, said enough is enough. We can no longer be cheated by politicians. Let's have a rerun. And fortunately, the ruling from the courts also favored what most Malawians wanted.
Exactly.
So it was the year that citizens showed their power.
Brian says it was the year that citizens showed their power. I say it was the year that probably demographically Malawi grew, and that's why we received all those presents from abroad. We will take a break. When we come back, we're moving on to the second segment of the program. We also want to look at the same year, 2020, but now looked at from the lenses of the international scene. And it's a year when Trump said no to election results, as well as the year of COVID. Don't go away. This is the Couldron, and my name is George Kasala. Welcome back. We are now in the second segment of the program where we are looking at the international story, and we are saying it was a year when Trump said no to election results and COVID-19. So, two stories dominated the international scene this year, and it can be rightly called the year when COVID-19 wreaked havoc, as well as when Donald Trump lost the U.S. presidential election, but refused to concede until today, less than 3 weeks before Joe Biden takes office. Bao, a year of COVID-19 doing damage to every facet of life, whether you talk of the economy, we're just talking about the loss of jobs and how it will be difficult for the DOS Alliance to fulfill the promise of creating 1 million jobs. Travel, business. Shall we ever recover from this as the world?
Some analysts were saying that, like the aviation industry, it might never recover. So many airlines will be grounded.
Yeah.
And even the travel itself, like tourism, is also a sector which has suffered a lot. We were hoping now that the world had opened up, people would start coming for this festive season. Sadly, we closed again. So you can see that the people who were hoping that at least things were getting better in the hotel industry, they're worried again. So it's just so sad. But I don't believe if we ever recover, because I understand COVID is here, for the long term, maybe like the next 6 months, it's also projected to still be strong. So there are some who sadly never recover.
Brian, the world upside down. Shall we ever recover from it? We're no longer traveling. You yourself, you're always out. We were just coming and visiting, but you were living abroad. Now we are here.
Yeah, now I'm in Malawi. Anyway, we will recover, but we will take time. Some of the developments that have happened should give us hope. The discovery of COVID-19 vaccines in the West. I think in 2 or 3 years' time, our economies should be able to recover.
And this is wiped off with the vaccine.
Yeah. But 2021, we are still in trouble.
Okay.
Because we have even now new variants of the
disease is mutating and what have you. But the fascinating feature about this whole thing, Brand, is that the Western world was hard hit as opposed to Africa, where they always think is a content of disease and a subject of charity. But table turned upside down this time.
Yeah, I still believe in some conspiracy theories which people are advancing.
Yes, let's hear them.
Yeah, that some of these diseases are localized in some areas. Yeah, you can transmit them to other areas, but in terms of transmission rates and levels, they might be high in other areas and not in others. We have malaria, for instance. Malaria in the tropics, it's a bad news.
Yes.
But when you go to those areas where they experience weather up to minus something degrees Celsius, malaria is not a huge problem. So I tend to believe in such conspiracy theories that COVID-19 is indeed in Malawi, it's indeed in Africa, it's wreaking havoc, and we need to take care. But when you look at the rate of spread in cold areas and in warmer areas with tropical weather, the differences are just huge. Yeah.
But Africa doing better.
Some even speculated that it's our poverty which is actually making us more resilient.
How?
That is the question now.
Because our poverty makes us get closed. We are sleeping in closed quarters, packed like sardines in some.
Maybe our bodies are used to
little, yeah.
And the fact that Africans are not dying will make it very difficult for governments to convince the people to take the vaccine.
Yeah.
Even the presidential task force actually considered that it would be very difficult for Malawians to convince me to say you'll be the first one to take a vaccine, to convince the teachers you'll be the first one to take a vaccine, and yet less than 200 people are dead. It's coming from a country where over 50,000 are dead. How do you convince somebody to be the first one?
And vaccines are always political. Already some people are talking stories that we need to be careful with.
Political and religious.
And religious, yes. Should we be careful, or we should just get it when it comes?
As for me personally, I'll decide when it comes.
Brad,
I'll get it immediately. It comes.
You have no conspiracy theories.
No. A lot of research has been done. Because when you are coming with medicine, there's that whole process.
Exactly.
You test them in mice, you test them in
but they are saying
monkeys, you test them
they are
in
saying
humans.
it would be a gambit to make us, population control.
Yeah, it will mutate your genes.
It will mutate your genes.
I think that would be even far much better. Overpopulation breeds poverty.
Brian.
And do we want to remain poor?
But you still want to be a grandfather, Brian. I know you have children yourself, but you still want children to have children so that you are a grandfather.
Look, it's a pity here in Malawi that a poor person in the village has 9 children.
Yes.
Somebody who is a middle income earner in the city has 2 to 3 children. So, I mean, why do we always get scared when we talk of controlling the population? You need to have a number of children that you will look after.
You look after. Okay. Eh? Brad is pleading about the vaccine. You are saying you decide when it comes. But Brad is saying let's take the vaccine. If they are putting something there to control population, so be it.
You know, I was just thinking about this today, and I was saying sometimes we take these theories too far. By the time we are around these ages, we've had the polio vaccines. There's so many vaccines in our bodies. How come we're still here?
And children, when they are born, they are pumped with all sorts of vaccines.
What's the difference with this one?
Exactly. But let's turn to Trump. The end is near, but he does not say he hasn't considered until today when we are recording this program. And every record is saying that is nonsense. What kind of person is your friend, Trump? Quite the story of the year that we have an American president that is refusing to concede.
He is who he is. I've always said that. That is him. And he's working as normal. He's vetoing bills.
Was it wrong for Americans to choose Trump?
No,
Brian.
You know, they were not wrong. They made their choice.
Huh?
They made their choice.
But
he has ruled over the past 4 years.
Yes.
So, I mean, they were justified to elect him.
But how was he ruled? That's the question.
No, the thing is, his term has come to an end.
Yes.
One cabinet minister in Malawi said, "Boma lingati machine." Meaning that government is like a huge machinery.
Yes. That's the Fuagauda.
It can crush you. So, after his term comes to the end on January 20,
yes.
The government is like a machine.
It will crush him.
It will crush him.
Like a was.
The point is that the system will take him out of.
Your last word on your beloved Trump. Brian is saying the system will take him out of White House. If he doesn't, then the machine is going.
It actually gets embarrassing to see somebody now forcing themselves on the people who clearly don't want him anymore.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, on that note, we end this segment in which we are looking at what we thought were 2 top stories of the year. That's the COVID-19 as well as the American election. We'll take final break. When we come back, we'll go to the final segment of the program, which is a look at the newsroom, and we simply want to take a general view of how journalism performed in this eventful year, even in Malawi. Did the journalists rise to the occasion on how they covered these, momentous things that Mibawa was talking about? Don't go away. Welcome back. This is the Couldron, and we are now in the newsroom. It was generally accepted even here in the earlier segments that the year 2020 was quite eventful for Malawians, and that the journalists, being the ones that write the first draft of history, were there to faithfully record everything that took place in the year. My first question to Brian is, how do we rate ourselves on how we performed on these matters, starting from the demonstrations, then the court case, starting with the constitutional ruling in February 2020, and indeed the final appeal in the Supreme Court. Did we do our job?
We performed very well.
Okay.
We applied to the courts to cover the election cases live.
Yes.
And we successfully did that.
On radio.
On radio.
Yes.
And I think we should thank the government and even the judiciary for allowing the media
exactly
for the first time
yes
to broadcast the cases live on radio. Some even streamed on social media.
Yes, certainly.
So I think that was good performance.
How crucial and important was that? The issue of radio, your favorite medium, Mibawa. how crucial was that the radio was allowed into the courtroom, and how did that contributed to the transparency of the case?
Oh, it was very important. And even you could see people who clearly maybe couldn't understand, but they felt a part of the proceedings. And they felt that this thing is really ours, it is our case. And also, it has shaped some journalists. There are some journalists who started with that case. And I can see even now, since we have so many other cases, we are having very beautiful court stories now.
Okay.
Where clear, concise stories are coming out.
How did that help Malawians? I mean, the fact that the case was live on radio, we were able to hear the judges interjecting, the lawyers, arguing evidence, they're cross-examining witnesses. Do you think that also played on the mind of the judges? That it's important to do justice?
It did. It played more on the mind of Malawians. It demystified the courts because we actually got to see the judges. We only see them from afar. We saw them. We saw them in action. Of course, they were covered by the military at that time. So there was a certain mystique and there was a certain drama in that thing, which was quite important for all of us to witness.
But we had opinions. People writing opinions on the Facebook, social media. Right.
Yeah, people are entitled to their opinions. So it was good that even people were freely commenting on that, depending on their political feelings at that point. Because sometimes you think the case would go this way.
Yes.
After 2 days, you find
see that things have changed.
But it was important that actually the judiciary took the courtroom to our houses through the radio.
Then there was the campaign itself, Brian. After matters were dealt with in court, the campaign started for fresh presidential election. Was the media fair, equitable in covering the candidates, outlining clear policy differences or we took sides?
Don't start with that one. I believe the media was fair. Some media houses,
yes,
others did not do a good job.
Yes,
but others worked hard to make sure that they cover the elections professionally.
But did we take sides? Were we fair?
Yeah, to be honestly, to speak very honestly, sides were taken.
Sides were taken.
Yes.
Sides were. Well, that was not good.
It wasn't good, but it was there.
Of course, we are all political. We all vote. We all voted here. So probably
the one who wanted to listen to this viewpoint would
get to some media house.
You choose which medium you want at that point to suit your needs at that particular point.
Minister of Information, Gospel Gazago, is always saying, MPC, we don't care about you. You didn't help us. Is that true?
I will still say it again that they helped them indirectly.
Okay.
Because of the hatred that people developed towards that medium. So whatever it said, maybe it swayed them towards the other side.
Fast forward to today, Brian, and the issue now is that the media probably is more like handling the Tose Alliance government, being blind to its faults. Is there a point in that? Have we covered the Tose Alliance properly, or we have mollycoddled them, like a baby? We haven't been harsh on them as a media.
We need the media needs to do a good job on Tose Alliance. One, two. The print media in Malawi needs to reinvent itself now.
What does that mean?
What do I mean? When something happens nowadays, we listen that on radio, we listen on TV, it's live on social media, and it's a pity that you find that the Daily Times or the Daily Nation will carry almost similar story the next day. There is need to invest in a lot of analysis, in investigative journalism, so that people can read beyond what they have already seen on social media or what they have already listened on the radio. But it needs a lot of investment and shaping the skills of the journalists so that they can do a good job.
Yes. Finally, what mark can we give ourselves, Mibawa? Out of 175. Brian?
Why do you need a mark?
Did journalism rise to the occasion?
Why do you need a
in this eventful year? That's why I'm asking for a mark.
A 69.
Oh, well, you are very stingy. On that stingy note, that's where we end this week's edition of the Couldron. As usual, you're with me, George Kasagula, and I was joined by Mibawa Chavula. Mibawa is the news editor at Blanda Synod Radio, as well as Brian Ligomega. Brian is the executive director of Solution Journalism, Center for Social Journalism, as well as former managing editor for this media house. Many thanks must also go to Dave Masea for providing the technical assistance in the final control center. My other thanks should go to Sarah Chirola for helping me produce the program. From everybody here, it's goodbye and good night, and of course, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.